Hey, this is Ishar, and in today's talk, what I want to go over is what success barriers are, why they occur, and how to overcome them. So, what are success barriers? Success barriers happen when we create our own resistances towards achieving success. So, in a way, we actually stop ourselves from achieving success. Now, may be thinking, why? Why would we do that at all? And I'll give you an example to help describe this. So, let's take a person named Jason. And Jason works at a sales job, and he's an entry-level salesperson who's making 40,000 a year. Now he is working really hard. He's a hard worker. He's doing very well in his job, and a lot of his upper management is starting to take notice. And Jason does want to advance in his career. Now, later in the week, the CEO of the company calls Jason in and says, "Hey, I know you're trying to advance in this company. I would like to give you a new job opportunity and promotion. Now, we don't have the senior salesperson job position available. However, we have another position that's open that's one level above that. And that is where you can be a sales manager." Now, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? Now, in this sales manager position, we'll give you $120,000 as your salary. So this is triple the amount of money that you're making right now. In addition, you'll also be managing 5 different sales reps. You'll be attending different meetings with the higher ups of the company, so you'll make a difference. You'll be traveling for different meetings and have all the expenses paid for, including the flights, the hotels, all that. And then you'll also receive way more benefits, more paid time off, and a lot of the perks associated with the position and the job. So it's yours if you want it. Now, this sounds very appealing, doesn't it? So here you are, being presented an opportunity where you're making 3 times as much money as you are now. You have all these opportunities and all these benefits and perks. So the first thought you may be thinking is, won't everyone jump at this opportunity? And actually, no. It's actually more common that you'll hear excuses and rationalizations for not taking the role. So people will basically come up with their own success barriers in disguise. So let's start to think about some of the excuses people might make. So they might say to themselves, "Oh, this seems like a lot of responsibility," or, "I'm not sure if I'll be a good fit for it. This seems like a bit of a stretch, maybe very challenging for me," or, "I don't think that I'm very worthy of receiving all this money. I'm not worth it." So part of success barriers may be created through poor self-esteem, which can be easily transformed and gotten rid of through the practice of meditation. However, the other aspect that doesn't really change is the resistance we may feel. So I'll be going over why this resistance is created in the first place. So success barrier resistances. So basically what happens is that when you do rise in position and status, there are certain factors which you must familiarize yourself with. So you must be very comfortable with these things that come with success and an increase in status. So what are these factors? Well, when you rise in your status, you'll have more attention, so increased amount of attention, more people looking at you. You'll also have more stress, more responsibilities, because typically when you rise up in your level of responsibilities, you'll have more things given to you, more things to manage. You will also be seen as an object, because that's typically how people view you when you're very successful, rather than getting to know you on a personal level. So this is something that a lot of celebrities will face, where people see them as an object rather than a real person. You will also have an increased level of expectations placed on you. So you're held to a higher standard than you were before. You will also have more people depending on you as you level up, so to speak. You will also be needing to show more maturity as you handle all these increased challenges that come your way. And lastly, you should be able to have a high level of discipline and self-management as well. So these are just very few examples of some of the factors that you must be able to handle as you rise in a certain occupation field. And these are just a few examples, but you can start to see why Jason, in this example, might reconsider this amazing opportunity. So if Jason did take this job as a sales manager, he will now have greater responsibility because he's managing a team. And he also can just take time off without planning, as he did before. So when he's working as a sales rep, he could be like, "Okay, I'm going to take PTO tomorrow because I feel like it, or I'm sick." Well, now he can, because he has direct reports that need something from him. So he doesn't need to plan this out more often. He also has employees under him who will constantly ask him for different things. He's held to higher standards by his upper management. So the CEO is probably more watching him than an entry-level employee. And it's very similar to, when a person who's a lot younger does something, pretty nice, like, write a book. Everyone will be like, oh, good job, Billy, you did it. But if a 40-year-old writes a book, people are just like, okay, that's cool. You're kind of expected to be held at a certain level. So they expect more from you. And they make it more of a big deal, right? And then also, in addition to rising up in status, like I've mentioned, there's more scrutiny. So people are now judging them and looking for how they're going to slip up. So you can clearly see this when you look at YouTube channels, for example. So on these smaller channels, you'll see a lot of positive comments like, hey, keep going, or they might not even get any attention at all. But if you look at the very big channels, so the channels that have millions of subscribers, you'll always see some haters on any video, even a positive video. You'll always see someone be like, oh, this sucks, and just start to pick apart the influencer or the content creator. So people will just hate on you for no reason at all. Even the Dalai Lama and Mother Teresa had haters. So that's something to think about. And then also, if you make a mistake, more people know about it, and they do care about it too. And the mistakes typically you make at a higher level will have more consequences than if you were at a lower level. So it's something to think about. So with all this being said, your nervous system has to be able to handle all these challenges that come your way. And that's actually part of growing in a sense, because as you grow in life, you ideally should be able to take on more and more responsibilities as you grow. So your circle of concern starts to increase. And a byproduct of this, and what happens, is that when you're able to handle more things, the little things in life don't stress you out as much. So you can clearly see this when you look at a teenager who doesn't have too many responsibilities and hasn't really grown in many capacities compared to someone who has more life experience. They may be crying over someone who hasn't texted them back. But someone who's like, say, 30, 35, if someone doesn't text them back, they're like, okay, no big deal, and they move on. And this is because they have grown in their lives and they have handled more things. So little stresses don't really, rock them off center. But it is a gradual process where they had to learn how to handle these challenges that are coming their way. So this is why slow success is often recommended more than very fast leaps, because you can achieve a lot of fast success, especially if you're doing a lot of reality creation techniques and manifestation techniques. And I also have a book on that, by the way, if you want to learn some of these techniques in particular. But if you do follow these techniques, you can actually achieve the life that you want at a very quick pace. But do you actually want that? That's a real question. So you often hear of celebrities and one-hit wonders who make it big overnight. So literally almost overnight. And oftentimes, you see with many of them, they actually go crazy because they're unable to handle all these different factors, like I mentioned. They increase attention, people constantly looking at them, and you'll see all these erratic behaviors coming from them. So you might hear of like celebrities, overdosing on drugs or going crazy or doing some, media public scandal, and all these things happen because they're unable to handle some of the pressures that come with it. Now, with all that being said, what can we do about our success barriers and the resistances that we create when we are faced with an opportunity to level up or grow in life, so to achieve success? The first option is to take the path of slow success. So this is if you want a smoother ride. So if you know that, your path in life isn't, you don't want to make these like big leaps where you're handling all these stresses, and you're in a phase in life where you kind of just want to take it a bit slower, then this is what's recommended. So in the example of Jason, he could tell the CEO, hey, I'm not ready for the manager position at the moment, but I would happy to consider a senior sales position once it opens up. So this is a perfectly fair thing to say, and in this way, he can start to level up very slowly. Now, Jason was feeling ambitious, and he wants to really go after the higher level position and become a manager. Then the second option is to act as if. So this is a technique that is often taught a lot in law of attraction and manifestation circles, and this is where you put yourself in the end goal. So what this means is you act from a place in which you've already achieved the thing that you want. So in this example, Jason would pretend he's already a sales manager. Now, if he was, how would he react? So one of the things he might do is he would probably start buying the clothes of a manager, because if you notice, a sales manager probably dresses a bit different from someone who's just an employee who's starting out. So a manager would dress differently, and accordingly, he wants to dress for the role that he wants. It's kind of like the saying, you dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. So that's one aspect in which he can act as if and come to the reality. Then the next thing he could do is perhaps delete his, drunk college photos from back in the day from his social media, because he wants to clean up his social media presence and online presence. Because once you're a manager, like I mentioned, you're going to have all this attention. So now you have to be mindful of that. Now he could also make friends with other managers, because again, he's not a sales rep that is, hanging out with other sales rep. He's probably going to be interacting with other sales managers. So in this specific reality, he would need to make friends with other sales managers. So again, this is just one particular example, but you can apply this for your life. So if there's a certain goal that you're trying to achieve, can you put yourself in that position of having already achieved it, and you would simply act from the place of already achieving it? What are the things you would naturally do if you already had, achieved the things that you want? And that's a very good way to do this. But just understand that when you put yourself in that reality, success will come very fast. So you have to be able to handle it. And your nervous system should be able to handle it. So along the way, you should expect, all these different things in your life to change. So the choice is really up to you as far as how much stress and how much attention you want to handle. So you could do it in a very steady pace and take the slow route to success, or you can achieve your result right away, overnight, but just understand that you'll have a lot of changes right away, and your nervous system should be able to handle some of the things that come with increased attention and elevation in status and rank. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you.